If you had to leave America tomorrow, where could you actually start a new life? Not just somewhere you can visit for a few weeks, but a country where you could arrive quickly, keep your living costs manageable, and have a realistic path to staying. And surprisingly, you have more options than you might think. I've narrowed it down to 5 countries Americans could move in less than 24 hours based on affordability, quality of life, and long-term residency options. But number 1 is different, and it's the country I'd choose if I had to start over. Starting at number 5, Colombia. Colombia is one of those countries where the reality can feel completely different from the image many Americans still have in their heads. Medellin sits in a green mountain valley, with modern apartment towers, busy cafes, and a growing international community, while Bogotá offers cooler weather and big city energy. Then there's Cartagena, where Caribbean heat and colorful streets create an entirely different lifestyle. That variety is a major advantage if you're testing life abroad. You can change your surroundings without leaving the country. The money can stretch further too. In Medellin, one-bedroom apartments outside the most expensive areas can sometimes be found for roughly $400 to $700 a month, while local meals and public transportation can cost a fraction of what many Americans pay back home. But Colombia isn't a place where everyone magically lives on $700 a month. Choose a premium neighborhood, imported food and constant taxis, and your expenses climb quickly. The real savings come from living more locally, and the difference isn't only financial. Colombia's cities have a strong street culture, with cafes, restaurants, and public spaces staying active well into the evening. Americans can generally enter Colombia for tourism for up to 90 days, giving you enough time to test everyday life before making bigger decisions. Don't judge it from a resort. Rent a normal apartment, shop at a local market, take the metro, and live an ordinary week. If you still want to stay after the vacation feeling disappears, that's when Colombia gets interesting. Number 4, Philippines. The Philippines has an advantage that can make a move halfway around the world feel surprisingly manageable. English is everywhere. You can speak with a landlord, order dinner, arrange a repair, ask for directions, or handle everyday errands without spending your first month struggling through a language barrier. Yet the country itself feels nothing like the US. Manila is dense and energetic. Cebu puts beaches and island trips within easy reach, while Davao offers a quieter pace. Smaller cities can slow things down even further. That gives you plenty of room to find a setting that fits your personality rather than forcing yourself into one version of Filipino life. The financial difference can be just as striking. In lower-cost areas, a decent one-bedroom apartment may fall around $300 to $700 per month, while local meals can run only a few dollars and transportation remains inexpensive. Someone taking home $3,500 each month in a costly American city might watch most of that disappear into rent, insurance, and basic bills. In the Philippines, the same income can leave a much larger cushion for savings, travel, or simply enjoying your surroundings. US citizens can generally enter for an initial 30-day visa-free stay, with extensions available under the country's rules. Still, don't mistake a resort for real life. Tropical humidity, monsoon rains, heavy traffic, and uneven infrastructure can become frustrating after the novelty wears off. That's when the Philippines becomes worth judging. Spend several weeks in an ordinary neighborhood. Shop where residents shop, learn the commute, and see how your budget feels. If the combination of warm weather, accessible communication, and lower daily expenses still appeals after that, you may have found more than a holiday destination. Number 3, Panama. Panama isn't really about abandoning your old life. It's about changing the parts that aren't working while keeping the things you still value. Panama City makes that balance obvious. You get modern apartments, private healthcare, restaurants, shopping centers, business districts, and an international airport connecting you with much of the Americas. Yet drive beyond the capital and the atmosphere shifts completely. Bogotá brings cooler temperatures and mountain scenery, while coastal communities offer a slower routine shaped by the ocean. For Americans, there's another major advantage. The US dollar is legal tender. Your income, rent, and everyday spending can stay in dollars, so you're not constantly watching exchange rates while managing your finances. Panama also gives you time to figure out whether the country genuinely suits you. Americans can generally stay for up to 180 days as tourists without a visa, subject to current entry requirements. That's long enough to experience the rainy season, deal with an ordinary month, and discover whether the tropical climate or your chosen neighborhood actually works for you. Costs vary sharply by location. Panama City can become expensive in desirable areas, while Bogotá can offer a more manageable lifestyle. with some people living comfortably around $1,500 a month and housing sometimes falling near $500 to $800. Panama also has established residency routes, including the pensionado program for qualifying retirees, and geography matters. If your family remains in the US, being in Central America makes visits far easier than moving across the world. Panama lets you create distance without making home impossibly far away. The humidity, rising prices in popular areas, and infrastructure differences still deserve consideration, but for anyone wanting a softer landing abroad, Panama offers a compelling combination of familiarity and change. Number 2. Albania. Albania becomes much more interesting when you stop looking at it as a summer vacation destination. The coastline gets most of the attention, and it's easy to understand why. Saranda and Himara offer dramatic scenery along the water, mountains rise behind the coast, and Vlora provides a larger coastal environment. But the beaches aren't the biggest reason Albania made this list. The real advantage is time. Americans can stay in Albania for up to 1 year without a traditional tourist visa. 12 months is an entirely different experience from a 2-week holiday. You can arrive during summer, watch the tourists leave, experience autumn, deal with winter, and eventually see spring return. Once the novelty disappears, you finally discover what living there is really like. Tirana is a logical starting point because it's the capital and offers the widest selection of apartments, restaurants, businesses, and services. Depending on location and quality, a 1-bedroom apartment might cost around $500 to $900, while some people could maintain a comfortable lifestyle around $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Those numbers vary, but the broader attraction is being able to experience Europe without automatically paying the prices associated with some of its most famous destinations. Tirana also gives you an interesting mixture of old and new, while mountains are surprisingly close, and the coast provides another option when you want a change of scenery. There are some trade-offs. You may encounter uneven roads and infrastructure, deal with slow-moving bureaucracy, and find that some services take longer than you're used to in America. Albania isn't a cheaper version of the US, so anyone expecting things to work as they do back home may find the adjustment frustrating. But if you're deliberately looking for a different way of life, those differences may simply become part of the experience. The 1-year stay is what makes the country especially valuable as a test. After several months, you'll know which neighborhood you prefer, where you shop, how much the language barrier bothers you, and whether you still enjoy the country when nothing exciting is happening. The 1-year visa-free allowance should be confirmed before travel, and it doesn't automatically grant permission to work locally or permanent residency. Those require separate considerations. Still, as a way to experience European life before making a major commitment, Albania gives you something rare, enough time to make an informed decision. You don't have to know on day 1 whether you want to stay forever. You can live there first and let the experience answer the question. But the country at number 1 isn't competing on price, distance, or convenience alone. It's offering something harder to measure. At number 1, we have Uruguay. Uruguay doesn't take the top position because it has the cheapest rent. It doesn't. If your only goal is finding the lowest possible monthly expenses, other destinations may beat it. Uruguay stands out for a different reason. It may offer a better balance between affordability and the quality of ordinary life. Montevideo has a long waterfront promenade, parks, cafes, established neighborhoods, and a rhythm that can feel noticeably calmer than many American cities. People spend time outdoors. Meals aren't always rushed. The day doesn't necessarily revolve around traffic, deadlines, and constantly moving from one obligation to another. That might sound like a small change, but after months of living that way, it can become the difference you notice most. The country also has a strong reputation for political and institutional stability and a relatively high standard of living for the region. Montevideo has established healthcare infrastructure, including private providers, which matters when you're considering a move that could last for years. Eventually, the question isn't simply whether you can afford a place. It's whether you can feel secure, comfortable, and settled there. A comfortable single-person lifestyle might cost around $1,500 to $2,200 a month, depending on housing and personal habits, while apartment rents in Montevideo can sit around the mid-$600 on median estimates, with significant differences between neighborhoods. So this isn't a country where the selling point is living like royalty on almost nothing. You're paying for a wider combination of stability, infrastructure, healthcare, coastal surroundings, and a realistic urban lifestyle. Uruguay also has temporary and permanent residency pathways for foreigners who meet the requirements, including an option aimed at digital nomads and remote workers earning income from abroad. That makes the country more appealing to someone who isn't simply looking for a temporary escape. You can start thinking about establishing a routine instead of watching a tourist visa countdown. Maybe you discover that the large house you thought you needed isn't nearly as important as being able to walk to a cafe. Perhaps a quieter morning becomes more valuable than another expensive possession. Maybe you don't actually need to earn more money if your current income can support a lifestyle that feels less pressured. Uruguay certainly has limitations. Spanish is important, imported goods can be expensive, and housing is not particularly cheap. Anyone seriously considering relocation should also research residency requirements, taxes, healthcare, and other practical considerations before making a decision. But that's also why Uruguay feels more realistic than destinations marketed purely as cheap escapes. It isn't promising that every day will feel like a vacation. It's offering the possibility of an ordinary, stable life somewhere different. And perhaps that's what people are really searching for when they start looking beyond the US. Not a fantasy. Not an endless holiday. Just a place where the money they earn gives them a little more freedom, where their surroundings suit them better, and where everyday life feels less exhausting. Sometimes, the best move isn't about getting richer, it's about making the life you already have feel more valuable. So, those are the 5 countries I'd be looking at if I had to leave America and start over somewhere new. Of course, the best choice really depends on your budget, lifestyle, and what you want your next chapter to look like. Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear where you'd go. And if you're thinking about making a move yourself, hit like and subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you practical, no-nonsense guides to countries where your money and lifestyle can go further. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.